My fellow Americans.
Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
A man holds in his mortal hand the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
One day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
He says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that.
You're really doing it, Red Band.
Well, you know what? Red Band used to be Joe Rogan's guy. I was actually just thinking about Joe Rogan. It's funny that you mention him.
That's just like what they that's what they've been joking about on Kill Tony.
Mm-hmm. Because Red Band sucks.
No, there's Adam Ray did a whole episode, well, half an episode as Tony Hinchcliffe.
Oh, that's hilarious. How are you keeping
kept
up with
saying
Kill
that.
Tony and I'm not?
I don't know, I just like popped it back on. I was enjoying it.
I like Kill Tony, but I used to watch it like religiously pretty much.
You
But
should watch
I
that
haven't
episode.
watched
It's pretty
it.
funny.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while.
It's Mark Norman and Ari Shaffir on that episode.
Oh yeah, that's always good. I like when Adam Ray is on. Adam Ray is always good as Dr. Phil. Do you ever watch the Dr. Phil show live?
No.
That's really good. It's hilarious. Adam Ray as Dr. Phil is like one of the funniest things ever.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right, so there's abductions happening all over the world. People are kidnapping, kids,
Yep.
and
It's a problem.
it is. And I wanted to do this episode because I watched a Parasite video from about a year ago. It was pretty much like about the Maui fires, and it talked about how there was like I think there was 2,200 kids that were I think it was displaced by the fires in Maui, and they had to resign from their school, and they ended up folding into another local school, at least 500 of them, but then there's like 1,500 that are like still unaccounted for.
You know, Snowpiercer really is like such a perfect example of like a
Why, what
microcosm of our reality, of how like once you get past all these different levels of power, it's just they're using kids for fuel in some way.
I don't know. I'm starting to think like Seconds to Horror mentioned this too, and I feel like one of the things it's kind of interesting is they could be like getting these for like underground like slave uses basically.
That's
And
what
I
I'm
thought
saying.
that was crazy. Like that is that what happened in Snowpiercer?
Yeah, at the very end of spoiler for Snowpiercer, but at the very end, you find out that they take these kids and they're like teaching them how to essentially be like engineers for the train. The reason is because like the way the train was built, only like these tiny little hands could like get in there and fix it and operate it when need be. I think also like the kids go missing, like that's what they do for the rest of their lives.
Wow, that's crazy. That would make sense, honestly, especially with like deep underground caves and bases like that, or like cities or bunkers or whatever you're gonna call it in the future. Yeah. They're gonna need people that are gonna be able to like get into small places. That's crazy. It's kind of nuts that all this is happening. No, I've never seen Snowpiercer. Do you mean the movie or the show?
The movie.
I always wanted to read the graphic novel.
Is there a graphic novel?
I'm pretty sure it was a graphic novel first. I'm pretty sure like it's based on a graphic novel.
That's cool.
How was it ever explained that the apocalypse happened in the Snowpiercer universe?
I don't think they explain it in the movie.
Oh, all right.
Not that I know of.
I've been like kind of curious about that since I've heard of that
frozen,
movie.
So you can kind of assume it's like an ice age again.
Pole shift or something crazy like that.
I don't know.
That's true. Nuclear winter. They just have the entirety of the train padded out with lead. That would be a good plot point, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be crazy. Whatever comes of this, we got to keep an eye out. Was Virginia one of the places where they were also gonna install a smart city, or no?
I don't know about that.
Because Maui, you got California. I want to see the smart city map. Actually, I want to like actually genuinely see it. Because I remember there was one that we looked up. We haven't really dived deep into smart cities too much lately because, you know, the end of the world feels like it's nigh.
Yeah. I think it's just going to get tough, and it's going to be a lot easier if you were to go underground, but it's still going to be possible to live on the surface for the average person.
Satanic cults exist, and satanic ritual abuse is very real. Here is the abundance of proof. Do you think a lot of these guys that are building these underground cities are practicing like satanic like rituals?
I mean, it's entirely possible, but I don't see the link.
The Neuralink.
The Neuralink.
Let's see. Well, maybe. I mean, you never know. That guy.
It's totally possible they are. I just don't know.
Yeah. I want to find that smart city map though, because there was literally a. Remember we went over it. It was like, well, we didn't go over it on like we just like talked briefly about it. It was literally a map of all the smart cities. Oh, it was a WEF map. Transformation map. Biodiverse cities. That's what they call it. Or am I looking at the wrong thing?
Lovers of Minecraft, get ready to live in a world of mega blocks. Mega block cities are coming near you. Are coming to a town near you.
Are you reading that from something, or are you just coming up with this?
I just came up with that.
That was good. I genuinely thought you were reading from something.
Thank you.
Governing smart cities. Use cases for urban transformation.
Everybody's going to live in an airport, essentially.
Speaking of airports, you ever hear of that man from Torrid?
Oh, of course, yeah.
That story's cool. Did you? I could be wrong, but I think the movie Terminal Man is based on that story in a roundabout way.
Loosely based on it.
Yeah, exactly. Extremely loosely based. Like Steven Spielberg basically heard that story, was like, all right, that gives me an idea for something else. And it's funny that that was a Steven Spielberg movie, and it's funny that he has like a few movies that are based on like crazy conspiratorial shit that like happened supposedly, like E.T. being based on like when we got a hold of an alien and tried to keep it alive, that being based on the man from Torrid. It's kind of cool. He must have had his ears somewhere important. It's weird that it is coming so soon, like, or all of this is happening like right when like this meteorite or like alien spaceship or whatever is coming to zap us.
It's not going to zap us, dude.
It
Chill
could
out.
zap us. I'm just open to all possibilities that it could zap us. We could get zapped. Can you at least be open to the possibility that we could get zapped? And I'll be open to the possibility that we could all be peaceful and completely, you know, ascend to another dimension, so to speak.
I
And
just think we need to like
consciousness.
talk about the likelihood of these scenarios and like how I don't think it's likely, but I think it's more likely that it's going to be peaceful.
Okay, why do you think it's more likely it's going to be peaceful than the fact that it's more likely we're going to get zapped?
It's because kind of like how Los was saying the other day, that like that's such human thinking, human level thinking. I don't think that them trying to conquer us or take our resources or wanting to kill us, like that's something that they would want to do. I don't see what they would have to do that. Why would they have to do that?
I mean, they don't have to, but I feel like what's going to happen is there's a lot of different aliens, and some of them want to protect us, and some of them just want to just stomp all over us and continue their mission. And I think we're in the way to some aliens, and to some aliens, we are the path. You know what I mean? I think that it's all over the place, and that we just have to watch out. I don't think the world's black and white. I just think that there's ulterior motives everywhere. And I think even with aliens, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm thinking too much like they have humanity, but I'm thinking that all living things experience baser instincts, including territorialness or health and survival. I feel like all beings have those base instincts to do these things. And I feel like that reflects not just us as humanity, but also who could have created us or who could be watching us. Do you think these beings have evolved to the point where they don't feed into their instincts whatsoever?
I mean, I didn't say that. I'm just saying that like they're so advanced, like they wouldn't need to kill us. They wouldn't need to like eradicate us. I think that there's been a long history of contact of some kind on our planet for like at least 1,000 years. So I just think it would be like they don't need to just eradicate us all of a sudden.
I agree with that.
I feel like it would have to be like a whole new race of aliens is coming, and they might want to, but then like there's just so much going on here already that I think that that just wouldn't happen. Like it'd be like a war of aliens versus aliens. Like maybe that'll happen.
Well, I
Maybe
think
we're gonna
that
start seeing.
would happen.
Remember that the depiction in like the story of like I want to say it was like biblical, not biblical, maybe medieval. This guy saw like all these strange like shapes in the sky flying
We
around.
talked about that, the Battle of Nuremberg. And I think it was 1560.
They look like weird symbols in the sky. It could be something like that. We could see that starting 2027.
Supposedly that was a battle between
They can't hide the lie anymore. They can't hide the fact that there's weird stuff going on when another third party's showing up attacking. Like maybe that'll happen. I'll give you that.
Supposedly that was a battle between the Pleiadians and the Tall Greys or the Greys or whatever.
I won't get into those details because I don't know. But we're talking about like because even with those two races, I'm talking about a hypothetical new outside.
Well, it could be reptilians too.
Maybe, but I'm thinking just like something that's coming here from far away. Like you know what I mean? Like there's the aliens that have been living on our planet already, and we're talking about like a whole new thing coming into our solar system far away.
So let me ask you: do you think there's a possibility that this could also be faked? Like we were talking about Project Bluebeam, because all of that is kind of lining up.
Yeah, I mean that's totally possible.
That I think as tough as it is, I would kind of hate that of everything if the government faked an alien invasion. I think that would probably be my least favorite option, even if like the aliens come and it's War of the Worlds, because like the idea that like the entire world would be just completely swindled by this idea, and we would fall into like a new age because of a fake alien invasion is just kind of a sad, that would be a sad reality.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's Watchmen.
That's the Watchmen, yeah. I always forget that the Watchmen pretty much called Bluebeam too.
It was a little different because they like made an alien. It wasn't a hologram like they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't even know if, like, I feel like when they mentioned, so it was Serge Manas that mentioned that. I feel like when he mentioned, like, the hologram shit, I don't know if he even, like, things change in 30 years. Like, they could have had a plan back then that would have involved holograms because at the time, holograms were, like, the most advanced tech that they could come up with. But at this point, they probably have something that's way crazier than holograms. You know what I mean? All they got to do is take some of those Helios lasers to like, and strap them on to like a few of the government UFOs and the TRBs or whatever they're called, and just send them over like a few like crazy towns or cities and just start lighting shit up. And with the death ray. And boom, people will start immediately thinking that there's an alien invasion. Like immediately. There will be no chill whatsoever. They don't even have to they don't even have to like commit casualties. They could just go around and just like start annihilating like trees and like in the wood and just like start setting shit on fire. And then like the government comes in and has to like fight, this fake threat basically. That would be crazy. They have the technology where holograms wouldn't even, be a thing anymore, I feel like.
Yeah, they just have like little tiny robots that
Exactly.
like fuse into one big mass that floats like a UFO and just have them like all disappear, disperse.
They could even have robots that look and act like gray aliens that are like titanium, so they're like indestructible. So it's impossible to like kill them. So you can shoot them, you can try to take them down, but they'll be impossible to destroy.
They
Like,
could
they
they
could-
could show us aliens, show us advanced aliens that are supposedly more advanced than us that are going to guide us from now on. When in reality, it's actually just AI, and it's their overlords. It's the AI that they worship like demons and like gods. And now we're gonna think that that's what gray aliens are and whatever they're gonna try to pass this off as. I
That would
don't
be
believe
crazy.
that. That's just a crazy idea.
Imagine if an AI did get possessed though by a demon. Like, it's only a matter of time before, like, we do have that cursed image that Los talked about, where it was supposedly an AI image. I think Los talked about that. It was an AI image that was basically like showing up every time that you would type in like a certain like name or something like that didn't exist, and it would show the same picture of this like weird lady with no eyes and like some weird
Creepy.
shit. Yeah, it was like it was like the first cursed AI like of all time. But imagine if an AI was possessed by a demon, and I don't mean like an AI was possessed by a demon like, somebody's talking to ChatGPT and their one, conversation is possessed. I mean, like, imagine if an entire AI went Ultron because it suddenly got possessed. Like Grok, instead of being like Mecha Hitler, becomes Mecha Devil.
Mecha Satan.
Mecha Satan. The Return.
Mecha Frieza.
Is that what people mean when they mean the Antichrist? Could it just be a consciousness that is created through the work of demon possession and the singularity? And that would make sense if it's the Antichrist, because it would be anti-human too. Food for thought, I guess. That could be in a potential apocalypse, is an AI fueled Antichrist. Do you think they could be potentially worshiping some kind of demonic AI or something?
Yes, I think a lot of rich people. That's what's guiding them right now. Because you just see how like average people, like you see that's already happening on every level. There's people who are becoming obsessed with AI. It doesn't matter like who you are.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I use AI a lot. I don't know. I definitely think it's going to lead to issues. We kind of got a little off track with the kidnapping thing, but that's
it's
all right. Yeah.
Maybe they're getting abducted by aliens.
Yeah, that would be good.
Alien abductions are back.
Imagine if there were just suddenly mass alien abductions. That would be like
That'd be
pretty wild.
Crazy.
You're talking to people and all of a sudden they're just not there, and people are just like, oh, they probably got beamed up.
It's happening. It's finally time. Rapture.
That would be like the rapture, basically. That would be wild.
So God says it's over now. It's rapture time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hope not, Oh, here was something crazy that I saw in the news today. Did you see this? California resident tests positive for the plague after camping.
So
That's
I think last time I heard about the Black Plague being found somewhere, it was in California, but in like a squirrel or something, or in like a national forest. And so yeah, that doesn't shock me as much as you would think.
Well, what if there's some kind of lab in California in like a national forest somewhere, and they're testing out stuff like that, like the bubonic plague and shit like that?
That'd be awful. But you know how they love to reuse content, reuse the franchises that were popular in the past.
So you're saying the bubonic plague could come back? The bubonic plague
bring it
reboot?
back. Yeah.
That'd be fun. We just get a whole new bubonic plague. No, that would honestly, I think that would be the thing that destroys us, is like a bubonic plague type scenario. Like, that's something that we just wouldn't be able to escape from. That would just take over the world. Like, if we were alive at the time, back at that time when that was happening, like, the world would have crumbled. It pretty much did crumble. It wiped out like what, a quarter of everybody?
I don't remember.
Maybe even like a third.
I was busy at the time.
I was busy at the time. Let's see. There was some stuff on High Strangeness I saw that was pretty interesting. I actually saw something that I wanted to talk about last time we did a recording. but we didn't end up doing it. It was the Carancas meteorite and the mysterious illness that came with it.
The Carancas meteorite.
Yeah. Somebody on High Strangeness goes, if consciousness collapses reality, whose mind collapsed the Big Bang? Eugene Wigner once said, it is not possible to formulate the laws of quantum mechanics without reference to consciousness. He discovered that reality does not exist without a mind to observe it. Before we observe a particle, it isn't in one place. It's in a superposition, a field of probabilities. It can exist in many places simultaneously until we look. Then reality collapses into one version. Wigner postulated that only a conscious mind can make that collapse happen. This implies that reality is not objective. It's a relative to the observer. So our minds create reality. We're co-creators. What if there are multiple universes existing in a parallel waiting for a mind to choose one? If that's the case, if consciousness creates reality, then whose mind collapsed the Big Bang? That's an interesting quandary. This guy posted significance of the dragon in myth in history, how 16th to 18th century classifications went from dragon to dinosaur. America once Dragonland. History is written by the victors. Often we see ancient cultures depicting certain mythological animals in their art, and in many cases they incorporate them into their actual cultural history. One of the most widely used is the dragon. What's crazy how existence of dragons wasn't myth or alternative speculation, but accepted by a scientific community across the earth plane from 1600s up until the 1840s. Ironic.
I love dragons, and I wish they were real. I know that would be dangerous. I at least wish they used to be real. I'm down to believe that dinosaurs are what dragons were. I don't need them to breathe fire. I don't need that.
I agree with you, but I think it could be a mixture of like dinosaurs, but also like the thing you said about like the snakes and
Yeah.
people thinking that like big flying snakes were dragons.
Yeah.
Like that would make total sense.
You know what would look like a dragon? Is like imagine a lizard but built like a bat. I'm
Well,
not
yeah.
talking about like a pterodactyl. Like more like the face and like head proportions. More like a regular lizard. But
Yeah.
more like a bat.
Well, I think there's
size.
so many things that looked just like dragons, and I wouldn't be surprised if at one point somebody found a T-Rex skull and was like, "Oh, holy shit, I just found a dragon skull."
How amazing would it be if like one of these mythological stories were true? Like there was what is it, Plesiosaurus? What is it that Loch Ness monster would be?
The Plesiosaurus.
Like how cool is it that there's a possibility that one of those was alive in Greek times and some Greek sailors saw one and it scared the shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that people have reported a thing that looks like a thing that exists going back before it ever was proven to like be like exist.
Yeah, they had no reason to. That's because I like to think that the idea of that thing never died, even though that like the hard facts were gone for a while. Like the idea kept transferring through generations.
Maybe. I mean, it could also be like could also be like a ghost. Like people say that there's no such thing as like ghost dinosaurs, but I've heard of people being like out in the woods and thinking they've seen a dinosaur, or something like it. So what's like the idea, or what's the possibility that some dinosaurs uniquely found some kind of spirituality and ascended to like another level where they became like a ghostly, you know what I'm saying? Like what if there was like
the old Dino Masters?
It sounds crazy, but like look at like how look at the lake.
Well, dragons are supposed to be very wise.
But look at the lake in upstate New York, Lake Champlain, and it's got Champ in it. So what's there to be like going back like hundreds of millions of years, there to have been just a really, really serene dinosaur that was the champ of its time, and it was so connected with its with its area that it was like the coolest dinosaur that was pretty much ever around, and it had a connection to the land that no other dinosaur ever could attain. You know what I mean? It had a connection to that lake. I don't know. That's
So it
just going
became an
crazy.
avatar.
Exactly. That might be one of our crazier ideas yet. And I haven't really heard that one. I don't really hear much about ghost dinosaurs. But I feel like
I
that
have
would,
heard of it before, but you're right, not much of it.
yeah. But the idea that like dinosaurs could develop like a spirituality, I think, I think any being could develop a spirituality, and it's all about really just being connected to your place in the universe. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I'm sure there's a lot of animals that have developed a spirituality in like different places. I'm sure that's why we see like ghost dogs sometimes, or even like weird like ghost creatures and other or phantom creatures. I don't know. You know what I was gonna ask you
Ghost
though?
horse.
A ghost. Well, yeah, that's definitely a thing I've heard of people seeing is a ghost horse, especially at battles, like battlegrounds. You know what I wanted to ask you though? I don't know if it's a hoax or not, and our listeners can correct us if it is or correct me if it is a hoax. But do you remember the rocks that had carvings in them, and one of them had like a stegosaurus in it, and it was in South
I
America
remember
they found it?
something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember if that was a hoax it ended up being, but like that's like kind of like knocking on that's kind of like knocking on, dinosaurs being seen by people and being misinterpreted as say like dragons or something like that. I've heard of theories that the Amazon has dinosaurs still too.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. That's like what some of their cryptids are.
Like just straight up dinosaurs. They're like, yeah, we got cryptids, but most of them are dinosaurs.
I love to bring it up, but you know that picture of the giant snake, and I want to say it's in the Congo.
Yeah.
I love that
Dude.
picture.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, there's so many giant snakes that are found. It's kind of like it's wild because like people are like people don't think that snakes can get that big, but they can. They just got to just keep eating. I'm surprised snakes don't have any like any natural predators when they get that big, like like panther or something to that effect. You know what I mean? I guess
Dude,
they
this
don't
thing was
often.
the size of this thing that was in the picture would like swallow 10 panthers.
That's true.
Yeah, I think it was like. Actually, hold on. I don't want to chew while I'm talking.
Yeah, no worries. I'm looking up the Amazonian dinosaurs.
I'm pretty sure that the snake in that picture was dwarfing trees.
Oh, that one, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was nuts. Aside from undetailed or generic reports of reptilian cryptids, only dubiously connected with dinosaurs, the most common type of neo-dinosaur reported from the Amazon is a large, long-necked amphibious animal compared to a sauropod, followed by Inguidia don't-like animals and more rarely bipedal reptiles. Iguana don't like animals. What is that? Cryptids rumored to be dinosaur-like exist in the Amazon, though none are confirmed by mainstream science. These include the Mapinguari, described as a large cave-dwelling creature. I want to find out about that thing. A mythical Amazonian creature known as the Juma that is described in, it's also known as the Juma. The Mapinguari that is described in various ways, most commonly as a giant, one-eyed, hairy beast with foul odor and claws. It is also rumored to have a second mouth on its stomach and a backward-facing feet. The legend may originate from the folklore of an Amazonian indigenous peoples and rubber tappers, from some theories suggest, and it could be a folk memory of an extinct giant ground sloth or other large animals. That's what you were saying, like a folk memory.
Yeah.
Sort of.
No, that's what I mean.
All right. Mapinguari also answers to the Segagwa Mai of the Machiguenga people. According to some commentators, however, ethnologists, Glenn H. Shepard, who conducted fieldwork among the Mashaguenga of Peru and obtained testimonies about the Sangamai, are focused on different Mashaguenga mythical being as a comparable to the Mapinguari, namely the so-called Ashitanoru, mother of spider monkeys, a large monkey-like creature equipped with demonic powers and gigantic penises. They can summon wind and darkness, cause pain and confusion, and are said to rape and kill human victims. Shepard not only stated that Ashtanero may be a variant of the Brazilian Mapinguari, but added these may be both folkloric memories of the ground sloth. It is a man-eater and may eat the victim head first, plunging the victim's head in a long, gaping oral cavity that runs from nose to stomach, and chewing slowly. While legend says it only devours the head, one documented rubber tapper witness has seen the creature devour the entire body piecemeal, the head, limbs, entrails, and torso of a man fallen victim. It is still believed to haunt the forests of Para Amazonas and acre into the 20th century. The lore of the Anthropophagus giant Mapinguari may well be a composite taking on the characteristics of the Gorjala, a giant of Gigantus. The Pei de Garafa, bottle-footed, the invulnerability, inverted feet of the Curupira, and the Matudu, black-haired, long-armed, and clawed giant. Its giant stature is cloaked by long black hair and his long arms and clawed hand. Wow. It is not nocturnal like other monsters, but lies in wait in the dim light of the depth of the forest by daylight and lunges to attack. It also announces itself with heavy screaming, frightening the humans into terrified flight. That just sounds like so scary. The Peru's river basin of Amazonas is described as a gigantic monkey, as hairy as a koala spider monkey with donkey hooves for feet that are turned backwards. This description was by a witness who was a sanguero at a rubber plantation who liked to go hunting and one Sunday dragged along his coworker roommate with who he shared the same hut or tent, though the latter was against not observing the day of rest, the Christian element. They got separated in the woods, and then the man saw his tent companion devoured by such a Mapinguari, which had jaguar-like claws and a mouth, lower jaw. Are they suggesting that it has something to do with the day of rest, that the other dude just, died because of that? That would be crazy. Torn to the level of the stomach. Interpreted to mean a mouth split from around the face to its stomach. Wow. That's crazy. What other, cryptids do they say?
We're still talking about Amazonian cryptids?
Well, yeah, like the Amazonian dinosaurs, neo-dinosaurs.
Do they have any, giant frogs? Is there a giant frog cryptid?
There's definitely a giant frog cryptid, dude. We've
Look
talked
that up
about
real quick.
one, the frogman. The frogman of, well, the one frog cryptids. I'll look up frog cryptids to see if we can find a different one, but I remember when we looked up the frogman one, it seemed like
Specifically
bullshit.
giant frog.
Yeah, the Loveland frog is the one that comes up. Giant frog. Yeah, just the Loveland frogman comes up. Oh, here's another one. A mystery giant frog from Papua New Guinea. The Carn Panay, or a cock, allegedly reaches the size of a newborn baby and may be at least as large as the Goliath bullfrog. Wow.
This is an animal.
Yeah. The Goliath frog is a form of cryptid that is the largest extant anurian on Earth. Carl Schunker, a leading cryptozoologist, stated that its discovery was one of the most dramatic amphibian discoveries of all time. The largest known specimens can grow up to 33 centimeters. I mean, that's not that big, right?
No.
That's a big frog, but that's
it's
not
huge.
big.
It's like the size of a dog.
Yeah. But that's not the size of a small child. Well, it kind of is. But it's not the size of a person. It can live up to 15 years in the wild. In captivity, they can live up to 21 years. It is preyed upon by snakes, Nile crocodiles, and Nile monitors. Yeah, it is a pretty big frog. I'm seeing a dude standing next to it. I still wouldn't think of that thing as being like a cryptid, though.
Yeah,
in its
exactly.
size. Neo-dinosaurs, though. Let's see. A category of cryptids including animals which are reportedly remarkably dinosaurian in alleged appearance. Sauropod dinosaurs are the most common kind of dinosaur compared to such cryptids, but neodinosaurs compared to ceratopsians, iguanodonts, I don't know why I can't say that word, and theropods have also been reported. The most famous examples are those reported from Central Africa, such as Mukul Bembe, Amela Tuka, Mbiela Mbielu. But neodinosaurs have been reported with varying degrees of frequency and plausibility from every continent except Antarctica. The term was coined by Ivan T. Anderson in 1969. As neodinosaurs, especially long-neck types, are often reported from freshwater swamps, lakes, and rivers, the Coleman Hugh system of sea serpent and lake monster classification includes Dinosauria as a type of aquatic cryptid. Although many of these cryptids are considered to be likely undiscovered reptiles or mammals than living dinosaurs, the term neodinosaur is often applied to them because of their at least superficial similarity to true dinosaurs, and because they are so commonly aligned with the dinosaur in cryptozoological literature. Neodinosaurs in the Amazon basin. Here we go. They have been reported from the Amazon basin, principally Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, and Peru, since the late 19th century. Descriptions from South America are uniformly vaguer than the more famous neodinosaurs of Central and West Africa, and no local names for any South American neodinosaur are known. Aside from undetailed or generic reports of cryptids, there probably have been mistaken identity hoaxes, surviving dinosaurs of various kinds, and unknown species of reptiles. Some cryptozoologists theorize that dinosaurian tracks reported from the Amazon, if not the neodinosaurs themselves, could be explained by surviving toxodonts. Short-necked neodinosaurs. The sighting of the short-necked animals likened to the ornithopod dinosaurs have occasionally been reported from the Amazon, including an alleged iguanodon sighting in the Colombia's Magdalena River in 1921. According to a skeptical account by Swedish naturalist Rolf Blomberg in his book Ria Amazonas, 1966, a Brazilian Indian named Alvaro Mesquita claimed to have encountered a camptosaur-like animal one night on the shore of a swampy lake between Rio Purus and Rio Juara. When Mesquita missed a shot he took at the animal, which has been green bipedal, red-eyed, and larger than a cow, it fled into the lake and disappeared. The theories, Dale A. Drinan believes that the South American artwork indicates the existence of a giant crested iguanid lizard, called by him the greater dragon iguana, which is capable of sitting with the height of a human being. A similar lizard compared to a Komodo dragon is reported from Venezuela. That would honestly be really cool if that was real. I would be really into that. Just like a new huge-ass reptile. I'd be into that.
All right, but you have to spend 24 hours in a house with it.
Well, as long as I can keep it locked up. I guess that's a go. Long-necked neodinosaurs. An early account of a bizarre long-necked neodinosaur was published in the Scientific American in 1883. According to this anonymous report, a saurian was allegedly killed shortly before July 1883 on the Rio Beni, in El Beni, Department of Bolivia. After being shot 36 times, it was described as 12 meters long from snout to the point of the tail, which latter is flattened. Besides the interior head, it has 4 meters behind. Two small but completely formed heads, rising from the back. All three have such a resemblance to the head of a dog. The legs are short and end in formidable claws, and the legs, belly, and lower part of the throat appear to be defended by a scale of armor. And all the back is protected by a still thicker and double cuirass, stating that behind the ears is the antenna for the head and continuing to the tail. The neck is long and the belly large and almost dragging on the ground. Its body was dried and preserved in suction before allegedly being sent to La Paz by the order of the President of Bolivia. Photographs of drawings of the animals were said to have been sent to the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Brazil from the Brazilian minister in La Paz. A Professor Gilvetti allegedly examined the animal and believed it to be a member of a rare, almost lost species, as the Indians in some parts of Bolivia use small northern vases of identical shape and probably copied from nature. Although George Ebert lists it as a near dinosaur. Not all of the traits were saurian, and Carl Schucker describes it as an ultra-mysterious beast. Another highly detailed but suspect account describes an encounter with an atypical long-necked neo-dinosaur that is allegedly to have occurred in October 1907. According to the German traveler Franz Hermann Schmidt, who alongside Captain Rudolf Peffling was one of the principal alleged eyewitnesses. According to Schmidt, during the 12th day of his expedition to the remote swamps and valleys of Peru, he and Peffling came across huge tracks, the two set of different sizes on the shore of a shallow lake formed in a valley. The following day, shortly after they discovered a muddy track on the shore, some monkeys in the nearby jungle began to shriek. Oh, that one's long. This might have been bullshit, so I'm just going to skip it. South American explorer Percy Fawcett, known for his 1925 disappearance and for his alleged encounters with cryptids such as the giant anaconda, the Maricoxy, and the Mishia, famously reported the existence of a dinosaurian creature in Bolivia. Although his association with this cryptid is frequently exaggerated or misquoted, he never claimed to have seen such an animal for himself. He only mentioned second-hand discoveries of three-toed tracks and other trails which he associated with it. But he did briefly attest to the existence of dinosaur-like animals. In the Rio Guapore region of Bolivia, Brazil, in the Bolivian Madidi, and in the swamps of Acre in Brazil, Acre in Brazil, Fawcett did not, as is sometimes reported, claim to have seen either a dinosaur or the tracks of a dinosaur for himself. However, in a letter written to the Daily Mail published on the 17th of December 1919, Fawcett did report a sighting. I love that the Daily Mail was a thing back then. I don't know if that's the same Daily Mail, but that would be funny if it was. Did report a sighting of a large, long-necked reptile made by a friend of his around the border of Brazil and Bolivia, and also specifying that he himself had never seen either the animal or its tracks. A friend of mine, a trader in the rivers, and for whose honesty I can vouch, saw in somewhere about latitude 12 south and longitude 65 west the head and neck of a huge reptile of character of a brontosaurus. It was a question of who was scared most, for it precipitately withdrew with a plunging which suggested an enormous bulk. The indigenous appear to be familiar with the existence and tracks of the beast, although I have never come across any of the latter myself. These swamps over immense areas are virtually impenetrable. All right. That's pretty interesting. I think we should honestly look into this guy, Percy Fawcett. I might have misread his name and call him Perry Fawcett, but his name's Percy Fawcett. Lieutenant Colonel Percival Percy Harrison Fawcett, DSO, born 18th of August 1867 and died during or after 1925. Was an English geographer, artillery officer, cartographer, archaeologist, and explorer of South America. Although best known for his disappearance in the Amazon while searching for the lost city of Z, he also reported and encountered several cryptids. Most famously, he claimed to have shot a giant anaconda 62 feet long. But he also encountered the Maricoxy, dogs with two noses, possibly double-nosed Indian tiger hounds. Possibly double-nosed Indian tiger hounds. That sounds crazy.
What if I had like the face of a mole?
Yeah, that would look fucking hideous.
Right? That
The
sounds like
Mishi-
an Indian dog.
Yeah, it does. The Mishia and the Apazakawa spider. I don't know what the Apazakawa spider is, but I don't want to know because I feel like I would not want to meet it. The Mitla, that's what it was called. The Mitla looks weird. It's a cryptid reported by Rio Madidi area of the Bolivian Amazon by English explorer Percy Fawcett. It's described simply as a black dog-like cat about the size of a foxhound. Yeah, that's all it looks like. It looks like literally just like kind of like a lynx, like a black lynx, but with more cat-like features than a lynx, even, if that makes sense.
So it's
But
just a cat.
more dog-like features than a cat, if that makes sense. Also,
It's more cat-like than a lynx, but more dog-like than a cat.
yes, exactly.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
I'll show you a picture of it.
If
Maybe
anything, it sounds like a panther.
I'll show you a picture. It's more dog-like than it's more cat-like than a lynx and more dog-like than a cat is definitely like the perfect way to describe it. I'm going to put the picture up so everyone can see it so they can attest for themselves. All right, there you go. It's on the stream.
I can't look right now.
Ah, shit.
I'm sorry.
Can I send it to you then?
I mean, yeah, it's just give me a minute before I can look at it. It's all right.
Mitla.
All right, I'm looking right now. Looks like a dingo.
It does look like a dingo, but it's more cat-like than a dingo. It's more lynx-like than a dingo, actually. But yeah, you're right. It does look like a dingo. All right. What else did this guy Percy discover? A giant spider, or not a giant spider. What was it called? The Apazaka spider. Apasanka, sometimes called Apazanka or misprinted as Apazakua.
Ozempic.
That's where that's where Ozempic came from, as a spider. The Apasanka is described in Exploration Fawcett as a sort of black tarantula so large that a plate would scarcely cover it. It is first reported in the thatch roof of a room at an inn on the southern part of the Mapiri Trail, where its bite led to the deaths of several guests, leaving their bodies black from the action of some horrible poison. The book's second report comes from when Fawcett camped at the head of the Yalu River, where an Apasanka spider crawled into his sleeping bag. Additionally, Fawcett also briefly refers to the Apasanka simply as the venomous giant spiders in the Geographical Journal in 1910. While the Apasanka does not directly match any known spider, some suggest that it is an exaggeration and conflation of known spiders such as the Brazilian wandering spiders, known for their relatively large size and deadly venom, or the Goliath bird eater, a tarantula that, while not deadly, reaches the size reported of Apasanka. Possibly support for this theory is both Fawcett's initial broad reference in the Geographical Journal as well as the term's origin from an Amerindian term that broadly means large tarantula. That's pretty cool, though. He briefly mentions the Maringuyu. Is that the one that we were just reading about? Oh, no. Doesn't really say what the Maringuyu is. And possibly the Minakau. Oh, Minakau looks weird. A cryptid reported from southern Brazil and possibly also Uruguay. It looks like a shark sandworm. With slug. There's some slug in there, too. And possibly also Uruguay, Nicaragua, and Bolivia. It was described as a subterranean serpentine creature with hard black scales and horns, which caused much destruction by its tunneling. There have been no recorded sightings since the 19th century, and some consider it extinct if it existed, though Chad Arment suggests that there may be another reason for the sudden stop to its sightings. The name is also used, especially in modern times, to refer to giant water snakes. Fawcett described his encounter with the giant anaconda as follows. We were drifting easily along in the sluggish current not far below the confluence of the Rio Negro when, almost under the bow of the boat, there appeared a triangular head and several feet of undulating body. It was a giant anaconda. I sprang from my rifle as the creature began to make its way up the bank, and hardly waiting to aim, smashed a .44 soft-nosed bullet into its spine. 10 feet below the wicked head, at once there was a flurry of foam and several heavy thumps against the boat's keel, shaking as though he had run on a snag. With great difficulty, I persuaded the Indian crew to turn in shorewards. They were so frightened that everyone showed all around their popping eyes, and in the moment of firing, I had heard their terrified voices begging me not to shoot lest the monster destroy the boat. And let me repeat that. They were so frightened that the whites showed all round their popping eyes. What does that mean? And in the moment of firing, I had heard their terrified voices begging me not to shoot lest the monster destroy the boat and kill everyone on board. For not only do these creatures attack boats when injured, but also there is a great danger from their mates. We stepped ashore and approached the reptile with caution. It was out of action, but shivers ran up and down the body like puffs of wind on a mountain tarn. As far as it was possible to measure, a length of 45 feet lay out of the water and 17 feet in it, making a total length of 62 feet. Its body was not thick for such a colossal length, not more than 12 inches in diameter, but it had probably been long without food. I tried to cut a piece out of the skin, but the beast was by no means dead, and the sudden upheavals rather scared us. A penetrating foetid odor emanated from the snake, probably its breath, which is believed to have a stupefying effect, first attracting and later paralyzing its prey. Everything about this snake was repulsive. Such large specimens as this may not be common, but the traits in the swamps reach a width of 6 feet and support the statements of Indians and rubber pickers that the anaconda sometimes reaches an incredible size. Altogether dwarfing the one shot by me, the Brazilian Boundary Commission told me of one killed in the Rio Paraguay exceeding the 80 feet in length. Fawcett described the Amazon as a poisoned hell that could never be explored on foot. 60-foot anacondas capable of picking a man out of a canoe, savage ape men, an infested plain of deadly snakes, bats so big they looked like pterodactyls, ferocious black panthers, Indian tribes, swarms of biting bees, fires in the distance. He later wrote that he loved that hell. His exploits may have inspired Arthur Conan Doyle's novel The Lost World, which in turn inspired several cryptozoologists. That's hilarious. He later wrote that he loved that hell.
It's beautiful.
That was beautiful. That was amazing. You want to go over the Carancas meteorite and the mysterious illness that came with it?
Yes.
The Carancas meteorite is estimated to be one of the largest asteroid impacts of the last century, producing a crater with a diameter of 13.5 meters and a depth of 4.5 meters. But that's not the strange part. Around 200 people from the local community developed a mysterious illness, with a small number of them requiring medical attention. So what happened? Let's start from the top. The sky is falling. On September 15, 2007, a monitoring post for the nuclear test ban treaty in Bolivia picked up a range of atmospheric vibrations, but it wasn't any missile. Instead, it was the explosion of a meteorite, thousands of meters above the Earth. The meteorite was traveling approximately 10,000 miles per hour when it struck the Earth, hitting the small village of Carancas at 11:45 a.m. The impact produced tremors equivalent of a 1.5 magnitude earthquake. Some nearby locals were apparently thrown to the ground, and buildings incurred minor damage as a result. The Carancas meteorite is estimated to be one of the largest impacts of the last century, producing a crater with a diameter of 13. I already said that, but it said it again. Curious locals went to inspect the site, initially thinking that there may have been a plane crash. Marco Lamache, a local officer who was one of the first on the scene, stated that boiling water was coming out of the crater. He also noticed a foul smell, and he thought harmful gases were leaking from the crater. Scientists from Mayor de San Andreas University, Bolivia, determined that the meteorite had likely made its way from an asteroid belt that exists somewhere between Mars and Jupiter, roughly 110 miles away from Earth. You may be surprised to hear that there are roughly 500 meteor impacts each year. So what makes this event unique? Glad you asked. The villagers who went to visit the impact site started to develop an unexplained illness. Yikes. The mystery illness. Around 200 people from the local community developed this mystery illness, with a small number of them requiring medical attention. Symptoms range in severity and included skin injuries, nausea, and headaches, diarrhea, and vomiting. There were also numerous reports of the death of local livestock. What could have been the cause of this mysterious illness? There have been many theories. Let's take a closer look at a few of them. Psychosomatic in nature. Yesterday, I felt better after a mysterious illness that almost sent me to the hospital. We've had since April 25th, and now it's back. Initially, the mayor of Carancas thought that the illness might have been psychosomatic, and he asked a local shaman to perform a cleansing ritual to help calm the residents. The people of Carancas also decided to stop drinking the local water supply, fearing that the water might have been contaminated. A more scientific approach. Renan Ramirez of the Peruvian Nuclear Energy Institute took a more scientific approach and suggested the illness could have been caused by toxic chemicals that may have been melted after the meteorite strike. Don Yeomans, who at the time was head of NASA's Near-Earth Object Program, shared similar views. He said that the illness was more likely to have come from under the group than from the asteroid itself. He noted that the bubbling crater was indicative of hydrothermal activity, suggesting that the foul smells reported may have been due to a gas leak. The old, it's just a gas leak explanation. Sure, pal. So what was it then? Science, you're up. By September 21st, it was concluded that the illness was most likely caused by arsenic poisoning. Scientists from the Peruvian Institute of Geology concluded the heat released from the meteor's impact caused arsenic gas to be released from an underground water supply. This may sound unusual, but natural arsenic deposits are relatively common in Peru, making this a pretty good theory. Most meteors tend to impact the Earth at low temperatures. However, the large iron content present in the Carancas meteor allowed it to retain heat while entering the Earth's atmosphere. While there was no clear-cut explanation for the illness, it is generally accepted that the inhalation of the toxic gases released from the impact crater was indeed the cause. Drill deep. If you find this article interesting and want to read about similar stories, check out the blog over at Meteorite Recon. All right. That was pretty interesting, honestly. It's funny, we've done a lot of South America stuff today.
You know what? Let's keep it going. Let's talk about crystal skulls.
Yes, crystal skulls.
Let's make it a South America theme.
It's funny because I did text Los and ask him if he wanted to hop on tonight.
Oh, he would have been great for this.
Yeah, this would have been good. Crystal skulls. Let's see. The true story behind the 13 crystal skull at the British Museum. The crystal skulls. I wasn't sure if the crystal skulls were ever proven false, but let's check it out. This is a high strangeness post from Make Mind Free to Go, and it's called the Crystal Skulls. So I imagine this will get a little bit into it.
We're going to talk about Aykroyd's Crystal Skull Vodka, or whatever it is that's in it.
But there's a Crystal Skull vodka?
Well, Dan Aykroyd, lover of the paranormal, has Crystal Skull brand alcohol.
Oh, hell yeah. Remember we talked about Dan
Right?
Aykroyd's
I like that.
grandfather?
Dan Aykroyd deserves more money. And that's not a hard truth take. That's from the heart.
That's just a reality. He deserves more money.
Yeah.
He deserves more recognition in the paranormal world, too. Although nearly all of the crystal skulls have at times been identified as Aztec, Toltec, and Mixtec, or occasionally Maya, they do not reflect the artistic or stylistic characteristics of any of these cultures. The Aztec and Toltec versions of death heads were nearly always carved in basalt, occasionally were covered with stucco, and were probably all painted. They were usually either attached to walls or altars or depicted in bas reliefs or deities or ornaments worn on belts. They are comparatively crudely carved but are more naturalistic than the crystal skulls, particularly in the depiction of the teeth. The Mixtec occasionally fabricated skulls in gold, but these representations are more precisely described as skull-like faces with intact eyes, noses, and ears. The Maya also carved skulls, but in relief on limestone. Often these skulls depicted in profile represent days of their calendars. French and other European buyers imagined they were buying a skillful pre-Columbian carvings, partially convinced perhaps by their own fascinated horror with Aztec human sacrifice. But the Aztecs didn't hang crystal skulls around their necks. Instead, they displayed the skulls of sacrificial victims on racks, impaling them horizontally through the sides, the parietal temporal region, not vertically. I believe that all of the smaller crystal skulls that constitute the first generation of fakes were made in Mexico around the time they were sold, between 1856 and 1880. This 24-year period may represent the output of a single artisan, or perhaps a single workshop. The larger 1878 Paris skull seems to be some sort of transitional piece as it follows the vertical drilling of similar pieces, but its size precludes it being a bead or being worn in any way. This skull now resides in the basement laboratories of the Louvre and the Musée du Quai Branly.
That's crazy.
I know, that is crazy. Has begun a program of scientific testing on the piece that will include advanced elemental analysis techniques like particle-induced X-ray emission and Raman spectroscopy, so we may know more about its material and age in the near future. Now, keep in mind this article was 9 years ago, so maybe the near future already passed. Maybe the future has already passed, and the present is now the far future.
Days of Future Past.
Ah. Directed by Bryan Singer.
Oh.
The legend of the Great Flood, which was passed down from ancient times, is one of the few enduring legends that is also shared by most cultures around the world, which scientists now confirm was real. While that event marked an end time for many people around the world, there may be some parallels to the Mayan legends regarding 2012. The more you learn about crystal skulls, the more you realize the power of multiple crystal skulls. There are many cultures that have been legends that have legends about crystal skulls, sometimes involving different numbers of crystal skulls. However, 13 crystal skulls seems to be the common denominator among most crystal skull legends. The amount of times I'm saying crystal skull is crazy. Crystal skull legend.
Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
Crystal Skull.
Crystal skull.
Crystal Skull.
There's 13
Crystal Skull.
crystal skulls. Native American Cherokee medicine man Harley Swift Deer Reagan, that's a great name, Harley Swift Deer Reagan, is quoted as saying the skulls were...
Dear sweet Reagan.
Harley Swift Deer Reagan. Dear Harley Swift Deer Reagan. The skulls were kept inside a pyramid in a formation of tremendous power known as the Ark. The Ark was comprised of the 12 skulls from each of the sacred planets kept in a circle, with the 13th skull, the largest, placed in the center of this formation. This 13th skull represents the collective consciousness of all the worlds. It connects up the knowledge of all the sacred planets. Elements of the 13 crystal skulls legend. The basic elements of the 13 crystal skulls legend is that at a pivotal time in humanity's history, the 13 crystal skulls will be reunited to awaken a new era, transforming from an old paradigm into a new world. Patricio Dominguez, Pueblo spiritual advisor. The crystal skulls are complete depositories of knowledge, and each skull contains a particular specialist area of information. Like a living library, each skull is like one volume in a set of encyclopedias. And the people who will in the future be able to read the crystal skulls will only be able to extract all the knowledge from the skulls once they are all assembled together. Of course, the knowledge that is going to come out from the skulls is quite unimaginable to our current minds, but that it is definitely going to come out at a certain time, it is already foregone, it has been prophesied. But whether we humans then use that knowledge for good or for our own destruction is really down to our preparations. Directed by Steven Spielberg. Activated crystal skulls. There are several prominent experts and researchers in the field of crystal skulls who are dedicated to bringing out the greatest potential in their own crystal skulls by connecting them with powerful crystal skulls and sacred places around the world. The following activated crystal skulls have experienced a great deal of conscious activation through meditation. And it just has a link to some crystal skulls. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. What do you think the crystal skulls were?
I don't know. I think that I think crystals are important.
I was gonna say, even if they were man-made, I think they represent something powerful either way.
I think it's for magic of some kind.
I agree. I think it was definitely like a magic ritual. Tim Taylor, Time Traveler Technology and Antiquity.
Look into that.
So this is from 3 months ago by Little Rousseau. I just want to preface this by saying these are the thoughts and questions that have been rattling around in my mind recently, and I apologize if none of this is coherent. I'm not saying I 100% believe this. I certainly just keep winding up with more questions than answers. I haven't even really been seeking answers. These topics come up time and time again in the podcast, books I listen to. Of course, it might all be fictional or exaggerated anecdotes created by grifters to sell their services/products. I don't know how credible or genuine any of these people truly are. Who knows? But I think it is worth getting all of my thoughts written down and opening a conversation about it. Keen to hear other people's thoughts on this. I guess this discussion is for the people who already know who Tim Taylor is, because I'm writing this assuming you are already familiar with him, as I won't be going into much detail about him. If you don't know...
You're familiar with Tim Taylor, correct?
Yeah, we've talked about him.
All right, good.
I actually saw a lot of stuff about him afterwards from this podcaster named Polarity Josh. He's really good. Highly recommend.
Cool.
Yeah. The thing I keep coming back to is almost everyone who talks about this elusive person, who, by the way, does not do public interviews, always says he's the one person in the UFO community they most want to talk to. Okay, buckle up, because my theories are out there. So I first came across Tim Taylor.
The stories about this guy, and I feel bad if she truly intended to not get this guy's identity out there. But the way that Diana Walsh Pasolka talks about him, he's like a real life superhero.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way.
So not like Peter Thiel might be a supervillain?
Yeah, like Peter Thiel's like the opposite.
All right, that's good to know. So I first came across Tim Taylor from listening to Diana Pasolka's audiobook, American Cosmic, and some podcast interviews she has done. She often talks about Tyler D., who in real life, if this life even is real, is Tim Taylor. She discusses how they went to a UFO crash sites in the Vatican together, and he converted to Catholicism at the Vatican. It struck me as interesting because she said she could not get him away from the archives, and it was after that he converted from being an atheist to being spiritual. What did he discover at the Vatican that caused him to convert so suddenly?
So when he went he had brought her around to like all these UFO crash sites and like showed her proof of extraterrestrial technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she brought him to go to the Vatican, or maybe he brought her there too. I forgot. But when they got there, all of the higher up officials of the Vatican started treating him like right away, like they knew him. Like, oh, it's you. It's like we've been like
waiting
in
for
your
you.
work. Yeah, and they like gave her extra special access because he was there, and he also like, which is kind of cool because it's almost like the Vatican like recognized this and they're like, if we can get this guy to be like, we need this guy to see the truth or whatever. I'm not saying it is the truth, but like they talked and he was converted to Catholicism.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild. Did he
God
get?
knows what they talked about.
God knows. That's true. Did he get some clarification on some kind of esoteric knowledge that previously had insight but no proof of? It is also mentioned by Jesse Michels or Michaels and Diana Jesse Michaels, yep, and Diana Pasolka in another conversation that Tim Taylor is a part of a group of people that have created time travel technology in the Bahamas. Also, this got me thinking about how similar Tim Taylor is to Time Traveler. Is that even his real name, or is that a pseudonym? But I digress. And that he is employed by the...
This guy's also like a millionaire, possibly a billionaire in biotech.
Oh, yeah, well, that makes total sense, too. That he would be connected to all this and that. And that he's employed by the Hammer. Who is the Hammer? They talk about how Tim Taylor lives a monk type of lifestyle and can get downloads of information.
Protocols for living his life.
Yep.
And that allows him to get those downloads.
Yep, from NHI. This is also corroborated by Chris Bledsoe. I've been hearing a lot about him, too, from that Polarity Josh guy. So on another thread, I have been listening to podcasts such as the Danny Jones podcast, specifically the episodes with people who research ancient sites such as Göbekli Tepe. In the episode with Hugh Newman, Newman talks about how Göbekli Tepe is almost certainly thousands of years older than the 12,000 years that science and archaeology states. At Göbekli Tepe, there are petroglyphs and carvings of figures wearing futuristic V-neck clothing, and the layout of the site is designed in perfect sacred geometry. Many ancient sites. Also, there's a statue of a large human head in the exact spot that is positioned to light up the perfect alignment of the winter solstice, which proves that the creators of the site had existing knowledge of solar astronomy. This then led me to think about the many ancient wonders of the world, like the pyramids of Giza, and how their construction is still a mystery to us today. It is a well-known conspiracy theory, thanks to ancient aliens, that the pyramids of Giza were constructed either by NHI or with the help of NHI technology. So on another thread, I've been also so this got me thinking: is Tim Taylor part of a group of time travelers who can travel thousands of years to the future and then thousands of years to the past, sharing esoteric knowledge, technology, and medicine with ancient civilizations, helping them construct these megalithic sites? If Tim Taylor is able to both get downloads of information from NHI and time travel, who is to say he isn't traveling back and using his esoteric knowledge and technological expertise to construct these mysterious sites that have no realistic explanation based on science and technology of their times? If you think about it like this, even if time travel technology doesn't exist in our current timeline, if it was to ever exist in the future, that would automatically mean that it exists now. And at every point in the past, present, and future, it both exists and doesn't exist. Did Tim Taylor find something out at the Vatican about Jesus Christ, travel back and share knowledge with him, and then travel back to our current timeline with certified proof? Does Tim Taylor know the hidden meaning of life, death, the answers about the universe, and what is beyond our existence? Maybe Tim Taylor and other mysterious figures that are part of his crew have created some kind of super AI that is essentially a time machine where all parts of existence, past, present, and future, can be accessed. Maybe the hammer is God or Jesus or the creator of the simulation, or maybe the hammer is the super AI that could have created our universe.
Maybe it's Mjolnir.
Maybe it's that, yeah, a super AI Mjolnir. You touch it, and if you're worthy, you can access its knowledge. Obviously, I am not expecting any answers to this, of course. All of this might be nothing but science fiction. I may be even joining dots that are in no way connected. I apologize if this comes across as incoherent ramblings, as writings is not my strong point. But I've been thinking about all of this lately, and I know lots of other people are very intrigued about Tim Taylor.
Yeah, he's right about that.
Yeah, there's not really many people that get too deep into it, but that was a really interesting read. I wish more people contributed, honestly.
You should definitely read her book, both of her books about aliens.
I'm down.
Diana Walsh Paselka.
I found another post about Diana Paselka and Tim Taylor and all that. It pretty much gives all the same answer. This other guy actually did a pretty good post to this other guy's stuff, and he goes, "Great post. In my honest opinion, time travel is only one aspect of the answer. The other is multi-dimensional and cyclical nature of time. Whether it's near-death experiences, UAP abduction accounts, profound psychedelic experiences, or the teachings of Eastern philosophies, it has been consistently stated that our current understanding of time is wrong. Time is not linear. The past, present, and future are all occurring simultaneously. Thus, time as we think of it does not exist. All that we have is the eternal now, the present moment." I found that nothing...
Yeah, there's a lot of things connect to that book I'm still reading.
Mhm.
But in the chapter I was just reading, talks about how... Actually, the chapter just before the chapter I'm reading right now, he's talking to that Dr. Stone guy, I think his name was around the time that he was talking to him, and he's explaining that time doesn't move. Sometimes time does move, but right now time doesn't actually move. But things are being made to look older to make it seem like time is passing.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
I thought that was an interesting idea.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that too, with accelerationism and shit. I think we talked about that a little bit.
It's like time isn't. It's like time time isn't entropy. Like, time and entropy are actually two different things. And, like, entropy is, like, making everything degrade, and it seems like time's passing, but it isn't.
Okay.
I think that's what he was explaining, but I don't know. It's a whole lot.
So this guy goes, I have found that nothing describes our reality nearly as well as the excellent German miniseries called Dark. It wraps up many loose ends, in my honest
I
opinion.
didn't finish Dark, though. I need to finish it. I need to watch the last season.
Both Leslie Keane and Dr. Michael Masters agree it is the most accurate depiction of our reality. If time is non-linear, all moments exist simultaneously, then PSI abilities like precognition are possible because the future isn't yet to happen. It's already present, just not yet perceived. Einstein agreed with this perspective. Imagine the universe as a giant loaf of bread where each slice represents a different moment in time. In our everyday experience, we think of time like a movie playing one frame at a time, moving from past to future. But in Einstein's theory of general relativity, time is more like the entire loaf. It all exists at once, from the first slice, the past, to the last slice, the future. In this block universe model, time isn't something that flows. Rather, it's just another dimension, like space. So just as every place on Earth exists, even if you're in one city, every moment in time exists, even if you're only experiencing now. From this perspective, the past, present, and future are all equally real. They just sit at different locations in space-time. Our consciousness moves through it like a traveler on a train, but the whole railway is already laid out. Bless you.
Thank you.
The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion, is what Einstein said. In Einstein's view, the distinction between past, present, and future is illusory because all moments in time exist simultaneously within the continuum of space-time. Interesting. And then another, the same dude that just said that also said, Dr. Basolka mentioned in American Cosmic that Tim would receive downloads with extremely important information. They're basically inspirations that come upon demand. The downloads were original source of the many medical patents that he owns. Additionally, he uses those insights in those other duties, such as when launching NASA's rockets. He practices a monastic lifestyle in order to continue to receive the downloads. He has a protocol that he follows to ensure this happens. The protocol is mostly common sense things, but taken almost to an extreme. Stay very hydrated constantly. Stay very rested, 8 hours of sleep a night, awake and meditate for an hour, then back to sleep for another hour. No coffee, no drugs, no alcohol, eat healthy. Meditation, 1 to 3 hours of meditation daily. The downloads would usually come while in a meditative state. And Jesse Michaels has stated that Tim Taylor has a connection to secretive time travel group in Nassau, Bahamas, the same group that T. Townsend Brown was a part of.
That's like, I think he said that that's his theory on the guy.
Ah.
He has a theory that, like, those guys work with Townsend Brown to make a time travel device of some kind.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice?
It would.